Today is Friday, the 7th of August, and coming into the market open today after yesterday, which was another slightly down day in equities across the board. All saw some form of pullback. The Nasdaq did technically close up green on the day based on its open, but ultimately it did gap down into the open and it still closed lower than its prior day close. The Dow Jones also had a fairly, significant down day compared to its recent days, but nothing really to be too concerned about. And again, for the IWM, so it makes sense. All of this price action makes sense given the recent move that we've had across the board, and the fact that we're coming into the weekly close today, and today actually being NFP day, which is going to be the biggest day of the month for sure. Basically, after last month with NFP figures coming in so soft and way softer than expected, it was a bit of a surprise for the market for sure. But ultimately, based on everything that's happened recently in terms of the the yen intervention between the US and Japan, it makes sense that if figures did come in softer than expected or in line with expectations, it would support current price action. If figures did come in softer than expected, then that would likely decrease the chances of further rate hikes, and it would also support the current intervention, which would mean that there's I guess kind of just a clear view ahead in terms of what the market wants to do, or how the market has currently been trading. It will nothing would change in that sense. On the opposing side, if figures came in hotter than expected, then that would do the opposite, and actually it would potentially put more stresses on the market. And based on what we're currently seeing with gold and silver, I spoke about it yesterday, and they're above their 50-day moving averages, and their lower time frame moving averages are starting to converge now. I did say that this was a technical breakout. I still believe it's a technical breakout. Consolidation period started early June and has just been flat kind of ever since, as we've tightened up towards this right hand side. So I would say it's definitely a technical breakout, but at the same time, it precious metals are seen as safe haven assets. So based on the potential uncertainty coming into today, no one really knows what's going to happen in terms of these figures. They've been very hit and miss. If you just take a quick look, based on the last, just since February this year, let's go to NFP. Based on February this year, everything has been each report has either been a massive miss in either direction. So way hotter or way softer than expectations. So based on that alone, it definitely leaves the door open for a surprise to come in either direction, and potentially some of the positioning that's coming into silver and gold now is just that, just to act as a safe haven just while there's a little bit of uncertainty, whilst it's a good risk to reward kind of standpoint as well. The oil did see a little bit of relief yesterday, bouncing off the 200-day. I also see that as a technical breakout, but at the same time, Trump did mention yesterday about having to push oil higher again. So in the background, there's definitely a few things that the market I could understand why the market is kind of positioning itself this way coming into such a key news event today. But ultimately, I would expect, I not would expect, but I'd like to think that there won't really be too much surprise, and it would actually be these breakouts that we've saw, especially across the S&P and the Dow. They are actually true breakouts, and the after today, the market may resume higher with a lot more clarity in terms of the likelihood of Fed policy moving forward. So in regards to breadth indicators, this also kind of supports what price is showing, and this has been really key for me actually. So price looks great across indices, but what's happening beneath the surface, and that reveals itself through breadth. And breadth, for the most part, is holding up relatively well. So the number of stocks above the 20-day moving averages, no real pullbacks since over these last 2 days, where we've seen some I guess profit taking and two red days come in for the indices. The number of stocks making monthly highs, also no real movement there. Similarly for the 52-week highs, and then 52-week lows still under 100. So nothing, no causes for concern across breadth. Stock primary breadth indicators also showing over the last 2 days, despite them being red days, the number of stocks making 4% moves to the upside still outweighed the number of stocks making 4% moves to the downside. And it was very close. It was very tight, especially yesterday. But ultimately, this just shows that there's no real selling that's coming in. And if anything, this is potentially just profit taking. But the big story is, or the big thing is, that no selling's coming in. So that's exactly what I want to see coming into such a key news event. It's showing that the market is optimistic about coming into today, and these breakouts and this recent move across the board is being supported for the most part. Bonds did move up a little bit yesterday, but they're not making new highs. And actually, depending on how today closed, it would be lower lows across the board, or lower highs across the board rather. And for the most part, everything looks really constructive. The dollar is holding its lows right now. And then again, if figures did come in softer than expected today, it would potentially support a weaker dollar. If there's a weaker dollar, then that's supportive of asset prices, and ultimately I'd see it as a bullish thing. So coming into today, based of all of that, I'm staying neutral. I'm definitely not coming into today with a bias. I'm prepared for any outcome. Figures could come in hotter than expected, softer than expected. But ultimately, I'm prepared for either situation, and beneath the surface, things look pretty great. So, coming in neutral, and I'm just going to react accordingly. But yeah, there's definitely signs that are worth paying attention to right now.